Hello everyone, I wanted to make this video to give you the pros and cons of going to community college. Now, if you live in Massachusetts, you may or may not know that it is free to go. Now, if you live in different states, it may be free depending on how much you make. I don't know, I would check with the state. But usually when you file the FAFSA, the federal aid, they will cover, it's up to $7,000. I think it's $7,000 a year and not a semester. I'm not too sure though. I don't remember. But I know that here in Massachusetts, the state will cover the rest if you decide to take extra classes, which I did, and they covered. So I think I will start with one of the cons is that there is a stigma, and I even had that stigma. It is to think that people who go to community colleges are less intelligent, which I think there are two types of people that go to community colleges. One is the ones that just had bad grades in high school, they had a lower GPA, and they could not go directly to a four-year university. So they went to community colleges to raise their GPA and then transfer to a university. The second type of people are the ones that are intelligent, but they just can't pay for a university. And the community college that I go to is about $7,000 a year. So, you have 2 years that you paid, if you paid was $13,000, which usually universities, even the cheapest ones, will go around $18,000 for a year. So there you have 2 years that you paid $7,000 instead of $18,000. It saves you a lot of money. And I have met both intelligent and not intelligent people. So this is something that you have to accept. The people will always have a stigma when you go to community college, but you can choose to transfer without graduating, which I was thinking about doing that, but I have decided not to. I will be graduating in December. I have planned to graduate in December if I'm able to complete all of my remaining classes. And I say that because some professors, I'm going to talk about that, but sometimes, especially when you have work, and for people that have families, I don't have children, so, but for people who have children, sometimes they're not able to submit their homework on time, so they need extra time. Not all professors are going to give you that extra time. I have one professor that I asked her, her homework is due on Sunday at midnight. And I asked her if I could do the homework on Monday because I work from Sunday to Monday overnight. And I could do her homework before it is due, but I have other classes that have their homework due prior to hers. So it would be easier if I could just do her homework on Monday. But she told me no. And she said that, well, no, I can give you extra time because the homework is due when it is due, but you can't retake the class next semester, which if you're trying to graduate early is not something you want to hear. Now, I am doing all the remaining homework. I lost an exam, I lost homework, I lost extra credit just because I couldn't do it the day that it was due. I still don't know if I'm going to get credit for that course. It ends in mid-August, so I will let you guys know what will happen. I asked her and she said that she could not guarantee that I would even get a C. Now, I have good grades for all the other homework. I have 80 to 90%. But still, she just basically told me to retake the course. So there's that. Now, she's not the only professor that teaches that course. So if I was going to retake, I was not going to retake with her. So yeah, but I have other professors who have been incredibly nice and they give me extra time. Sometimes they would say, oh, just, as long as you submit all the homework before the course ends, you still get a grade. You won't get points taken out because you were late. And that's also another thing that is good about community college, is that if you were working full-time, 40 plus hours a week, if you have a family, the majority of the professors will be understanding. They will give you extra time. It is a great opportunity for you if you don't have the time to go to a 4-year university. But yeah. So that is a pro. But let me see. The cons are that, depending on your religion, most colleges tend to have liberal views. So, if you're religious, it may not be the best for you, but like I'm doing the best to just ignore most things, and I am still keeping my faith, and I'm not becoming part of that culture. Now, when I was younger, I went to a private Catholic school. So just so you can get an idea where I'm coming from here. But yeah, so I do think it's worth. I think you should graduate, especially if you live in Massachusetts and it is free. If it is free, you should finish your degree. Okay. Now, I'm talking about Massachusetts. Some colleges will not take your credits if you don't finish your degree, depending where you're going to. Some colleges guarantee that they'll take all credits if you get a degree. So it really depends. It depends on the courses you're taking on the program. Like I'm on the paralegal program. I went to go for criminal justice bachelor's. I have looked at the classes and they're completely different. But still, my college has a transfer agreement that's saying that after I graduate, the university that I want to go to will accept all the credits. Now, if I don't graduate, I don't think they will. My college also has a criminal justice program, but I wanted to learn more about paralegal because I want to work again as a paralegal, and I'm going to talk about that later as well. So if I took a criminal justice program, I would feel more comfortable transferring without finishing my associates, just because the courses are basically the same. But because my program is so different, I think it's best for me to finish it first. Now, the reason that I was thinking about not finishing, one of the reasons was that I have to do an internship and I work full time. I don't work in my field. I work doing something else. And I don't know still how I'm going to do the internship. I have some people that I want to connect with to see if they are offering internships. I don't even know if they will pay me, but I'll see how I'll do that. Now, when I was younger, I was able to get, when I was 20 years old, and I was able to get a job in a law office without a degree. Now, I did not stay at that office. I was able to get another office, and that office had the previous attorney that I worked for. They got a recommendation from him before they hired me, and they hired me. Now, at that time, I wanted to start a new business. I was into the escape the matrix type of thing, and I ended up leaving that job. I started a business selling life insurance that did not work out. And I tried to return to the field, but when I went to do interviews, people were they didn't see why they should hire me, because I had worked at 2 different offices. I didn't stay in any of them. And that's something that I wanted to talk to you about, because you may have heard stories about how your grandfather didn't go to college. He started a job and he worked in a job for 50 years. If you get a job right after high school and you stay in that place, that's one thing. Okay, you may not need a degree if you're in that place for years and years. But if you leave, it will, people don't have a reason to hire you if they see you don't stay in one place. Like I worked 2 months in the first office and 8 months on the second office. And I remember going for another interview about 2 years after my business wasn't working out, 2 years after I left the office. And one of the attorneys asked me why he should hire me, because he didn't think I would stay. Now, if I had a degree, I could show them, look, I went to college, I really want to do this. But because I left, they didn't have any, and I didn't have a degree, so they were like, oh, you're just gonna stay for a few months, get some money, and go do something else. So that is why you should have a degree, okay? And that is why I'm doing a degree in paralegal studies, because I want to work as a paralegal. But in the future, I do want to go to law school. And I really liked the criminal justice program, but I did not want to study that. The community college. I wanted to do, oh my God, I can't talk today. I wanted to do the paralegal program because I wanted to learn more about being a paralegal and doing, legal writing, legal research. So I am very excited about the internship. I have no idea how I'm gonna do that. I'll see if I can get maybe a few days off work. Well, like maybe not work 4 days a week. But yeah, I am very excited. But I don't know how everything will work out, and I don't know if I will be able to maintain the job at the law office once I go to a university. But yeah, so that's why I think you should go to community college. Usually, if you don't make a lot of money, the FAFSA will cover your community college tuition, usually, okay? Like, I don't know if the entire country is like this, but I know Massachusetts is. I could have gotten an associate's when I was younger, but I had such bad stigma against community colleges, so I would not want to be seen in a community college. But now that I am at a community college, I see that there are a lot of intelligent people, great professors. I have maybe a couple professors that I don't like the one that I just told you about. But yeah, I've met such great professors, and yeah. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is for people who never went to college. My dream is also to get married and have kids, but I think that it's very important for us women to have an education and, to do something bigger than ourselves. I think that raising children is very important, but I would advise women to also get an education, do something that you like, get a degree in something that you can have as a job, and don't trust men 100%. I'm not married. My mom gave me this ring. I just turned 26 a few days ago, and she gave me this as a gift. But as much as I want to be married, I want someone I can trust. I think that we should always have an education, and community colleges can be great for that. If you have children at home and you have to take online classes. Oh yeah, that's a big thing. Most of my classes were online. I don't know how it's going to be at a 4-year university. I'm still getting information on that. But most of my classes were online, and I highly recommend that you get some type of education. It should, it helps you be respected. It helps you be secured, respected by your husband. That's what I meant. And yeah, so I would recommend that. The way that I found out that community college was free was by accident. I was going to get a certificate in paralegal studies. That's what I was looking for, because that's what I could afford. And, I was Googling different universities here in Boston, and I saw that, there was a community college. All the community colleges around were free. And then I found the paralegal program, and I decided to enroll. I do think it's very important to have an education. I think I spoke about this on the first video that I made, but I was lost for so many years. I was always trying to find something that could make me a lot of money, and I don't know, I was trying to do the whole escape the matrix, yeah, escape the matrix thing. That did not work. I'm 26. I work at a job that is very manual. It's manual labor. I don't know for how much longer I can handle to work there. I could have job at an office now. Had I stayed at the second office I worked at, or had I gotten a degree earlier. And the stigma will always be there. So I highly recommend that you go to a 4-year university. Do not just get an associate's and be happy with it. Like, go to a 4-year university, because once you go to a 4-year university, it won't matter where your associates won't matter as much anymore. And yeah, so for Massachusetts, right now it is free. I know state universities are free. We will have an election coming up in September, I believe, October. It'll be my first time voting, so I'm very, very excited. Yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen with the free community college, and that's also why I wanted to transfer before, but it's better for me to just finish my degree. Now, because I'm finishing early, I'm not too sure, but I'm almost sure that I won't be able to walk. There will be no graduation, because graduation is usually May. I'll be finishing December, so I won't have a walk, but honestly, I'm okay with it. I do care about having my walk when I go to a 4-year university, because I think that is a bigger goal. Another thing about community college is that you don't have to be accepted. Like, everyone is accepted in a community college. You don't have to be special in any way. Now, at a 4-year university, yes, you have, sometimes if you go right after high school, you have to write them an essay. When I was in high school, I applied to go to the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences for a dental hygiene degree. That's what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a dental hygienist. My ultimate goal was to be an oral surgeon, because I was born without a tooth. I had a dental implant, so it is this one. This one is an implant. I was born with that. And I was born without a bone, so I had to get a bone implant as well. And I thought that was so cool. I wanted to do that. I wanted to do surgeries. I wanted to do cosmetic. That's what I was going to go to school for. And I submitted an essay. I did a lot of things. I ended up being accepted into that college. Now, I remember at the time, the college with the room and board was going to be about $75,000 a year, which is a lot of money. Now, they had an accelerated program, so I would get a bachelor's in 3 years instead of 4. So I decided to also do, because after you get your bachelor's, if you're going to dental school, you have to do 1 year of pre-dental right after the bachelor. So I was going to do 4 years counting the pre-dental. Now, it was a lot of money. And I didn't even have a car at the time, so I remember I don't like public transportation. Like, I'm not a fan of public transportation, but I did not have a car, and I was poor. So I had to take the bus to go to that university. And if I wasn't going to live there, I was gonna have to take the bus every time I had classes, and it was just a mess. It would have not worked out. So I decided to get a job instead and think about for a little. I took a gap year, and that gap year turned into 5 years. So yeah, in those 5 years, I ended up working as a paralegal. I love to work as a paralegal. I feel that people need me. I was working with immigration. I loved immigration. I am an immigrant and I love helping people like me. um, I am not all for all types of immigrations. Like, I came here with a visa. I think people should come here with a visa. But I do love helping people who, this might not sound good, but it's the best way I can describe it, is that I love helping people that deserve to be helped. Now, I remember talking to someone about this, and they said to me, well, but how do you know if someone deserves to be helped? Usually you can tell. You can tell when someone is being truthful. You can tell when someone needs help. You can tell when someone deserves something. Like, you can tell, usually. Sometimes, I had to work with cases that I didn't believe were true. Like, there were cases that, you just know when someone is not being honest. But as a paralegal, you have to work with those cases. So I did. I want to be an attorney, and I want to take the cases that I believe in. But as a paralegal, I know that I have to work with cases that I don't believe in, that my attorney chooses to take, and that is not a problem. But it is so satisfying when you help someone that deserves that help. And that's what I love about immigration. And that's why I went to work for an immigration law firm. It is very satisfying. It makes me feel like I feel useful. I feel useful. Like, I feel like, they need me. Yeah, I feel like almost like a hero in a way. So yeah, that's why I think your career is very important. Is you have to do something bigger than yourself. Yeah. And so yeah, and let me know down in the comments what your opinion about community college is. If you were deciding to go to one, if you went to one. Was that you were going to have to take classes you don't like. You're gonna have to take classes that have nothing to do with their major. Like in paralegal. I had to take some electives, so I chose ones that I liked. Like, I chose Women in War because I wanted to learn more about, especially here in the United States of America, how American women were treated and were dealing with war, with World War I and World War II. I did not learn much about this when I was in high school, so I didn't know much about the wars in high school. Maybe because I didn't speak English, so there's a lot of content that I missed. But yeah, so I took intro to sociology. I was taking intro to psychology. I dropped that class. I had to withdraw the intro to psychology, so I will be getting a W on my transcript. Which, if you get a lot of W's, you can lose your financial aid, so be careful with that. But yeah, it was just too many. There were too many classes, so I had to get rid of one. She was very nice professor, but unfortunately, it was a lot of work too. I have to take like accounting, which I don't want to do, being a paralegal, but yeah. So the way I deal with classes that I don't like is I take them online. Every time there's a class that I don't like, I take that online and I take accelerated classes. Now, accelerated classes are usually, it can be 5 weeks long. Usually, you're going to do less work in an accelerated class because there's just no time to do a lot of work. So some people said it's more complicated because it's more work and less time, but in reality, you're gonna have to do less work. Okay, so if you don't like a class, make sure you take it online, and make sure you take an accelerated version of that class. Yeah, so when I go to a 4-year university, I know that Massachusetts has a certain classes you have to take. For everyone that has a bachelor's has to take certain science and math classes. I know that I'm gonna have to take those classes once I get there. I don't know how their programs work. I know that they have an online program only, and then they have the on-campus program. But I'm going to take classes on campus too, so I don't know how that's gonna work, but and just do like, if you don't like a class, do the bare minimum. Like, do not worry about getting high grade. Oh yeah, another thing, community colleges have honors classes that you can take. If you plan on going to a 4-year university, which I think all of you should, don't worry too much about being excellent in community college. Even though that may guarantee you admission to a 4-year university, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a degree, no one cares if you're in honors classes. No one really cares, So make sure, save your time, save your brain for the 4-year university. Then you can exceed expectations on that university. It's more important than exceeding expectations in a community college. So yeah, so that's that. So don't worry too much, just do your best. Also, don't take a lot of classes. Usually, I didn't know this, but usually people only take classes during the spring and fall semester, and they don't take classes during the summer. I am taking classes during the summer because I want to graduate early. I started college in May of 2025 in the summer, and I was supposed to finish the 2 years in May of 2027, but I'm taking extra classes to finish in December of 2026 so I can start the 4-year university in the spring semester. It is helpful to take classes in the summer because then you can take less classes in the spring and fall, but usually students will only take classes in the spring and in the fall. But yeah, just don't worry too much. Just do what you can do. Once you get to that 4-year university, that's when you have to start worrying. That's when, especially if you, like me, want to go to law school, they will look at what you have done on that university. Another thing the 4-year universities have are international studies. So you can go to study in France and places like that. So it's very cool. So I would save money while you are at a community college as well, so you can study. My ring light just went out, but it's okay because I was almost done. But yeah, so again, let me know if you have any other questions. I will give you guys updates once I finish my classes in mid-August. I'll let you guys know how I'm doing, if I got an internship and how is that going. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.